WGC.
Oh, you didn't know?
Welcome back to the channel. God bless. Thank you for rocking with your boy. It is truly appreciated. So WWE 2K25 is a pretty solid entry into the series, and I feel like that is largely due to the quality of life features that we got. Things like scaling back on the goofy fighting stances, getting slingshot tech all the way up out of there, the third person camera, and the reintroduction to chain wrestling to the series. All of these things make for a much better gameplay experience in my opinion, and I'm really hoping that they continue with the quality of life stuff that they've been doing and carry that on into the future. But what I want to talk about today is really some more of the outside of the box things that people really just don't talk about like that. So with that being said, WGC, lock in and let's work. A simple quality of life feature that I would absolutely love to see are grapple transitions. I mean, I think it's absolutely crazy that we can't do something as simple as transition from a front to a back grapple from a tie up. I would also love to have a simple toe kick, snapmare, and headlock takeover so that we could transition our opponents from kneeling to sitting to laying respectively. It's like I said earlier, man, these are all basic moves for level switching and positioning. So VC, please do us the honor and add these ASAP. Another simple fix I would love to see is having better ring navigation. I mean, the main thing is being able to simply step over your opponent or object that is laying in the way a lot more fluidly and more timely. I mean, it's crazy how easy it is to get stuck or wedged between things that's just laying in the way. I mean, and this can be really annoying in those times where you need to take advantage of a particular situation, like trying to climb the ladder, go for a pinfall, or anything of that nature. As players, I mean, we waste a lot of time just simply trying to maneuver around stuff just to get to our destination. And also, this doesn't help the ref either. That's another very annoying situation when the ref actually gets stuck between stuff and he's late getting to a pinfall, and it just really kind of messes up the game flow. So I hope 2K and VC can really just kind of look into this and maybe make things a little more fluid to where we can move around the ring a lot smoother, I should say. And this one is going to be on the short and sweet side, but just allow us to drag ladders and tables that have already been set up. I mean, there's no reason we should have to close ladders and tables just to rearrange them. Just allow us to drag and carry them to where we want them to go. Easy work. Speaking of dragging things around, man, I would love to have some much better drag animations, both from a functional standpoint as well as aesthetically. Personally, I do feel like the strength and weight class should affect the speed and the stamina taken by the drag animation. For example, like if you are Obafemi, you shouldn't really have a problem dragging around Javon Evans. I mean, and it shouldn't take that much stamina. And the drag speed would be significantly faster than if you were dragging a bigger opponent. Now, we flip that on the other side and say, like a LA Knight trying to drag like a Bronson Reed, then he would have a much tougher time and it would take a lot more stamina. Also love to see like different animations for dragging. Like if you are a big guy, take like a Yokozuna, like his sumo drag where he drags the guy by one arm. I would like to see things like that. Maybe a two-arm drag, just depending on where you are positioned with your opponent. Instead of the same arm and leg drag, and it's kind of the same slow, cumbersome animation. Like just mix it up a little bit. Another quality of life feature that I advocate for constantly is pro wrestling based dodge maneuvers. Those things like duck unders, float overs, go behinds, things of that nature, like things that we see in everyday pro wrestling. Along with the basics, man, I would also like to see some unique animations for these type of dodges. Maybe we get the Naomi slide, like where she ducks under an opponent's attack, or maybe we just hit a duck under and hit the ropes on the opposite side, or maybe the little float over animation that we get with a lot of the indie wrestlers. I mean, I just feel like mixing things up and giving us more pro wrestling based dodges first and foremost would be a huge asset, man. It's just one of those quality of life things I think that fans of wrestling would appreciate. This next one is more so solutions to one of my personal pet peeves, and that is submission release attacks. Like, rarely do you see wrestlers just let go of submission holds. Typically, if they do that, it's more so like a manager interference or the ref is down. But you don't ever really see them just release a hold and don't follow up with anything. Submission release attacks, I feel like, would be a pretty dope entry into the series just for the simple fact that you can opt to let go of the submission hold in exchange for an attack. So say like you have a guy in an ankle lock or something like that, and you decide to release the hold. Instead of just releasing his foot, how about we follow up with a knee slam attack? You know, just something that would make it look a lot better than just releasing the hold. Because like I said, personally, I've never really seen that too often where a guy would just let go of a hold like that. This is yet another one I advocate for quite frequently, and that is a quick way to break the outside 10 count. I mean, personally, I feel like it's kind of goofy that we have to climb all the way in the ring and then climb all the way back out just to break the 10 count. I mean, we should get like a little prompt or like have an action to where we could just roll in and roll out real quick and, you know, break the 10 count. That way we can continue to fight on the outside without having to worry about forfeiting our momentum that we had and giving our opponent a chance to kind of recover. So yeah, I would definitely love a feature like this. I feel like it would go a long way and just like I said, giving us a more pro wrestling feel. I feel like we see this one all the time, and it's like one of those situations to where, like, if a guy is outside of the ring but he's close to the apron, we should be able to reach between the ropes and like kind of pull him back up to the apron and get him back in the ring or perform like an apron attack or whatever the case may be. I just feel like, you know, it's one of those things that would expand the offense and give us more creative ways to get guys back in the ring or, you know, without having to climb all the way back out and try to force them in. We could just do it this way, especially if they're close enough to the ropes. I mean, it's more about that environment and ring geography and interacting with wrestlers and your opponent in different ways as opposed to like having everything kind of laid out for you where if you want to do this then you have to follow this guideline. Like, no, just give us more ways to achieve certain things, which brings me to my next point, and that is being able to get guys back in the ring like with the carry grapples. I mean, I feel like this is another missed opportunity to where like we could, you know, get guys back in the ring and it would help with positioning and just like I say, breaking up that monotony of always having to rely on certain ways to get guys to do certain things. Like we shouldn't always have to rely on the Irish whip just to get guys back in the ring or position them in certain positions that we need. If I'm holding a guy like in over the shoulder carry, I should be able to just like kind of lawn dart him back into the ring if I want to. Just a thought. I feel like this would be a cool expansion to chain wrestling. Just having those moments where we can actually reach a stalemate and like where you know both guys tie, you know, because that happens all the time, especially like in the more indie style wrestling when guys are, you know, kind of going back and forth and neither one of them can kind of get the upper hand, so they kind of end in a stalemate and it counts more so as a reset. I would love to see things like this. So, like, just say for instance, if you both of you guys tie in filling up the circle, then maybe we would get a stalemate sequence to where, like, you know, maybe you guys, if you want, you could opt to shake hands. Like, give us more options in this case. You could shake hands, or you could slap them, or cheap shot them, or whatever the case may be. It just depends on, like, you know, giving wrestlers or players, I should say, more opportunities to do these kind of things. And not to mention, like I said, it just expands on the chain wrestling and adds more unique animations and happenings instead of everything just playing out the same all the time. Like we know, okay, we win this one, we're gonna go in this position. If we don't win this one, this is what's gonna like. No, man, break up that monotony. Give us some new stuff. Give us some different branching things that we can see when we're doing chain wrestling. You know, so it won't be so boring. This is kind of an odd omission because I would expect that this would have been in the game by now. Like being able to perform finishers when your opponent is like sitting or kneeling without having to rely on like, you know, them being in a grounded state and then the canned animation moves them into that position. if you take something like Adam Cole's last shot and they're already sitting up, we should just be able to bounce off the ropes and hit that move without having to first lay them down or whatever, make sure they're flat on the mat, and then initiate it from that way. Or if they're standing, like, why, if they're already in a position, that means the work is already done for us. So we should just be able to follow up and hit that move. I just feel like this would just add more freedom first and foremost for players to be able to hit moves, you know, more so out of nowhere, man. That's what it's all about, like giving us that control to where like we feel like we have so many different options to pull off offense. And by doing this, expanding that, I feel like this would be a much appreciated tool for us to be able to get our offense off and break up that samey kind of feeling that we always have, like, okay, well, I know if I want to deliver this move, I got to get them in this position, that position. Like, no, give us different routes to achieve the same goal. That's what it's about for me, man. I love having more options to get off my offense, like I said, man. So we'll get that, especially with Stephanie Vacour's Devil's Kiss. Like, why do we have to initiate that from a ground, or if they're standing or something and we get like this default snapmare? Like, no, if they're already sitting, let us walk up, hit the button, and perform the move. For me, it really is that simple, but hey, all we can do is ask, I guess. But WGC, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this, man. What are some quality of life features that you just would love to have in this game, man? More sort of outside of the box things, or things that you think nobody else really thinks about. Comment down below and let me know, man. I would love to have a discussion. As always, man, I truly appreciate you guys for rocking with me, man. It means a lot to me. You guys have no idea. All glory to God. Be blessed and be a blessing to somebody. Later, WGC. Yay.